Welcome to A Well-Designed Business with your host, LuAnn. LuAnn has a lifetime of experience building a multi-million-dollar business with her husband and cousin, and she knows the challenges you face in your interior design business. LuAnn brings you real-life answers to your most pressing problems, as well as practical strategies to explode your interior design business. So, let's get to the business of interior design.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of A Well-Designed Business. It's Power Talk Friday. I have Lyndsay Phillips with me today. Hi Lyndsay, how you doing today?
Hi LuAnn, I'm great. Happy to be here.
Thank you. So I am looking forward to sharing you with my audience because Lyndsay is a self-confessed organizational freak, appointed task manager, project ninja, and she is a warrior VA, read virtual assistant for business coaches, accountants, small business owners, online entrepreneurs. And I know that this is something that many of us think about all the time. Her business is called Smooth Sailing Online Support. She has a podcast called Sailing to Success Podcast. And Lyndsay and her amazing team of VAs support entrepreneurs just like us who have fast-paced businesses and fast-paced growth. You know that moment when you're feeling like, I just can't get to all of it, but I'm not sure who and how and when I'm going to hire? Well, Lyndsay understands this, and she knows that this is one of the most challenging aspects of growing your business and reaching that next level. And her and her team really help you by managing your back office. They can implement your marketing. They can strategize and implement a social media campaign. And, they take care of all of the overwhelming details, the moving pieces. I'm like, sort of like you have me at hello, Linz. I'm just saying. So the thing is that I truly empathize with the designers listening to us today because I'm on both sides of this. You know, Window Works is a firmly established business, and I have an amazing team all there. And the podcast is the startup. And the truth is I'm leaning all over my WindowWorks employees for certain tasks with the podcast, but there's certain things that I can't lean on them for because they have jobs. Let's be real.
Yeah, exactly. Or it's just outside of their realm of their scope of their job, right?
Yes. And so I feel like I really share the angst that I know a lot of designers face with feeling like that moment. There is a moment where you know you're growing. There's a moment where you know the momentum is picking up. And it's just sort of like, I find it exactly right now in this moment with the podcast. It's like, okay. 20 things to do. I'm one person, and each day you are really trying to, at least for me, I'm trying to prioritize the things that must be done, the things that will move the needle in the podcast and everything that goes with it, and the things that are non-negotiables for the day, right? But then every day I'm like looking at the list of, okay, kick that one to tomorrow. And then a week later, and I've kicked it a week down the line. And it's because it's not one of the critical things. So Lyndsay, tell us a little bit about how do you, I would think the first thing that occurs to me, if I look in podcasting especially, it's very common to hire a VA. In online businesses, it's very common to hire a VA. It's probably not so common with our brick and mortar businesses. Yep. But so let's talk about it a little bit. I think there's some angst in there in hiring somebody that is not on site with you, that you're probably never going to meet in the lifetime of working with them, and wondering how you as a business owner can set up and what's expected of us in order to make that relationship productive.
I know, and Lord knows I have been there. We were talking off air there, and it's like, I have been in the interior design business for a couple of years in my strange path. I know. And I've had another business before that was totally unrelated. And obviously this business I've had for the longest. Now, and I've been there in the thick of it. And you know what? One of the key things that I had to get over is that, okay, like interior designers, like they're fabulous. You guys are fabulous at what you do, right? Like dealing with your clients and measuring and planning and getting it implemented and installed or whatever. you do not have to know how to market your business. You do not have to know all your legal stuff. You do not have to know all of your accounting and bookkeeping. And I think, especially as women, we're just too hard on ourselves. We feel like we need to have all those extra skills. And it's like, cut yourself a break, man. You don't have to know all that.
Right.
You know the wonderful world of interior design so that you can do all of that fabulous stuff for homeowners. It's like, take a deep breath, let your shoulders drop, and there are people out there to help you. And it is not a weakness to ask for help. I am like, that's crazy to me. If you ask for help, to me, it's more empowering. It means that you are taking a stand for your goals. It means that you and your business is important to you, and also your time is important to you. So asking for help only shows your strength to me.
Right. I agree with that. And the thing about it is that often we are, again, I really have to say how much I identify with this exact moment now that I'm sure, again, that a lot of my colleagues are experiencing, because I spent not this particular weekend I worked all day on something, all 2 days that only I could do. But the weekend before, I specifically pulled 2 8-hour days on Saturday and Sunday.
Oh.
Yeah, I did. And my husband at the end of the day, the Sunday, said to me, just looked at me, he's like, honestly, Uncle, take a break. And I just said, no, I know it's, I'm done. It's 7:30 at night. I'm done. He's like, well, what did you do today? And I looked at him and I said, honestly, I did things all day today that were way below my pay grade. Like I did all things for 2 days that I have no business spending my time on. And I said, and he just looked at me and I said, we are at that point, buddy. We are right there. Yeah. We have got to hire somebody. And so I get it. And so Lynn, when you think about getting ready to hire in particular a VA, because that sounds like a good option for a lot of us for certain tasks, I feel like, and I would love for you to clarify if this is a good way of looking at it or if I'm overthinking it, because I will be honest and I have a tendency to overthink things. But I feel like until I have, look, on the podcast, I'm telling everybody all the time how important it is to have systems. And I have my systems for what I do and only have taken the time out of my day to actually document them. So I know what they are, and I might have them in a notepad. But when I think about turning around and hiring an outside company like yours, I feel like, well, I want to almost present you with my Bible. Like at WindowWorks, I have a Bible. We have a 3.5-inch thick training manual that you can turn to any tab and go, this is how you do this, this is how you do this. Do I need to have completed that, Lyndsay, in order to have a productive, effective relationship with a VA? Or is that part of, as a VA, if somebody hasn't set all their systems up, but they're in their head, you help them go through? Or am I on the wrong track? Like I said, am I overthinking it?
I think you're overthinking it. I mean, it's beneficial.
That's so shocking.
But it's like, I have had people come to me that are like a hot mess, where it's like, I know, like our focus for, we've actually changed the name fairly recently to Smooth Sailing Business Growth. Okay. And so we're focused on content marketing. So it's like, and as an entrepreneur, you're like, oh my God, there's social media, there's videos, there's blogs, there's podcasts. I don't even know how to freaking start those things. Right. Let alone like pulling content on my head that I don't even have time to write or do. And it's like all this stuff spins in your head and you're just like, you're freaking out, right? And I've had those people come to me and I'm like, okay, breathe. And I'm like, you don't have to do it all at once and you don't have to know how to do that stuff. That's my job. So it's like, let's start with blogs to, help with your content marketing, whether you write it or we write it. We have got writers on staff. You obviously approve the stuff. We'll promote it. We'll publish it, optimize it. We have such great systems in our back end. It's like, I'll tell you what I need from you and I'll remind you when I need it. Because trust me, I am a taskmaster. And it's like, I need this by this. And then we do our thing and out it goes and so forth. So it's like, okay, once you get your blogs rolling in, let's pull, videos into this scenario. I only need, let's say 3 videos from you a month. You're going to do it on this week. So you know exactly what's expected of you. We put it in YouTube, we optimize it, we publish it, we promote it, we do our, what we do best. And that's the beauty of it. It's like, and this is another great tip. It's like when you are looking for, whether it's a general VA, whether it's a social media marketing firm, a content marketing firm like me, they are already experts at what they do. So that onus and that burden is not on you. So they need to have those systems in place. They need to know what they're doing, and they need to take you by the hand and it's like, here's what we're going to do. You obviously yay or nay it, or like, here's the strategy. So you don't have to figure it out on your own. You want to have someone that's working as a partnership with you. Someone that's not just a doer. So it's not on your shoulders. Like we want our clients to have complete peace of mind, less stress, so that they don't have to have all the 50 things running through their heads all the time. They know what's taken care of. If I need something from them, I just actually was touching base with one of my team, and I'm like, Matt needs to send us new blogs. He needs to do 2 more videos. Can you please get on him so that we can pre-schedule it for the next month? Right. So it's like, we've got your back. Like, we're not going to wait to the last minute. You know what I mean? It's like we're on a solid routine.
Okay. So what you're describing is will you in your initial meetings and once you have agreements with somebody that you're going to work together, I guess what you're doing is you'll strategize over what the most important things are that they feel that they want to accomplish. And then maybe you'll pipe in and have an opinion on, well, maybe that's out of order. Let's lock this down first. Okay. And so then what happens is, so if somebody says to you, my goal is to put out 1 blog post a week, 1 video a week, and post on Instagram 4 times, 3 times a day or something like that. Are you then going to break that into chunks and say, do this, but then they're just going to do the front end of it. So we've had a lot of discussions recently. I just had a Facebook Live recently with an 1.5-hour Facebook Live with Ian. Oh, wow. Yeah, Ian Kwa was teaching us how to do video and how to edit it and so forth and everything. But what you're saying is that we could do that part, create that video, which might take us an hour with setting the light up and changing and going back and forth and cutting and starting over again. But when we're done, we just boom, we just Dropbox it to you and you do the rest of it.
Yep, absolutely. And
that's
then
exciting.
We send you the draft. It's like, here's the video. It's all optimized. It's looking great. We publish it on your website. Here's the social media posts that we propose. Here's a couple of the, graphics for these platforms. And then usually in the first couple of months, there's tweaking, it's like, oh, that's not, because it takes a bit to learn someone's voice, their brand, learning what their target audience is. And then once you nail that, often they're like, yep, looks great. Move on to the next week.
Right. But I love that. But what I also love is it sounds like if I say to you, my goal is 1 blog post a month and 1 video a month, and you're not just going to, I'm not going to, wake up in 3 months and, say to you, I know I haven't gotten you any blog posts or I haven't got you any videos. We're going to get to it. And you go, it's okay. You're nudging us, right?
Oh, yeah, no.
So that's a different,
Forget it. No, I call them my quote unquote friendly reminders.
Right.
I'm like, you can't let it slide, because here's the thing, right? If you go to someone's face, because I do this all the time, if I'm researching a company or a new tool or whatever, I always go to their Facebook page or their Twitter. And if they haven't posted anything in, let's say, even 2 weeks, and I'm like, are they even around anymore? Right. Are they successful? How are they going to be at answering my support calls? Because I kind of feel like they're not even going to be there for me. Like, all those things that go through your mind, that perception, it's like, it's huge. If as an interior designer in a specific community, like if there's a homeowner, they go to your website, they look at your profile and pictures, and that's great. But it's like, let's say they go onto your social media and what have you, and there's like crickets. They're going to be like, oh, are they going to be reliable, right? That's going through their head. So it's like it is so important. It's not just a social media post. It's your branding. It's your perception. It's serving your prospects. And if you're not posting, then you're not showing up on their feed and you're not top of mind. And that's important too.
And I have to say, that kind of stinks. I mean, I just have to say, I mean, honestly, look, I think it's amazing people that really feed the Facebook beast and all that. And of course, WindowWorks is feeding the beast. And so is, my LuAnn Nigara page. That. But I'm paying people to help me feed that beast. Yeah. Let's be real. But the thing is, if I weren't in a position where I could pay somebody to feed that beast, it's sort of annoying that you could be judged for not having a post on Facebook for 2 weeks because you're out busy actually designing. Let's be real.
Yeah, but it's like if you go into a hair salon though, right? And the hairstylist is like, their hair is like half dyed, they're like sloppy outfit. You're thinking like it's just the way it is, right? Yes. You're like, sure, they might be busy serving their clients and they may do like wicked awesome hairstyles.
Right.
But you look at them and go, oh, hells, they're not doing my hair.
Right. No, it's true. It's like when you go to get your nails done and the person doing your nails has like horrible hair nails. You're like, what?
And you think, are they even clean? Like, it's like, no, it sucks.
It's the minutia of the judgments that we make, right? We make these little minor judgments all along the way, right?
So true.
It's, look, I'm a broken record with this. I think there's so many amazing things that happen with social media, but there's 1,000 that drive me crazy.
I know. Some of it, yeah.
Now, the connections, the connections, the people that I feel like I know, I truly have relationships with, that's all the home runs of it. But this other side of it, this is like, there was a time, none of you know it. You don't remember it, but there was a time that you just got up and did your business every day. I promise you.
Yeah, I know. No, I totally remember those days.
Anyway. So how do your, I'm going to use your company as an example because you're on the phone with us. Okay. So, but I'm sure that your structure is set up the way others may be as well. So is it the sort of thing, Lyndsay, that someone could look to a firm like yours and hire for, is it an hour, like 10 hours a week, or is it 20 hours a week, or is it a monthly service contract with a ladder of services and you pick and choose? I want a Facebook, I want a Instagram. How does it work?
I get that question a lot. I have 3 different kinds of clients. One I call rescue boat services. It's like, I know, right? I love my theme. And no, I don't own a boat. Darn it.
I do love it. It's very cool the way you tie everything into sailing, and on your podcast, you're the cruise director or something like that. I love it. The captain or whatever.
That's for sure. But it's like, you're not consistent with your social media, or you're not even on Twitter yet, or you have a blog, every 6 months or whatever it may be. It's like, you need rescuing. So it's like, that's where it's like, okay, let's start with the blog and the social media posts and get it consistent. So that is like a specific package. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then I have some clients that kind of go into the yacht services. It's like, hey, I want to do a podcast. I want videos. I want blogs. And it's all cohesive and working together. So that's like a bigger package. And then I have, that was the sailing boat services. And then I have those that are more yacht services. So these are more of my VIP clients where there's like lead magnets, webinars. I have a bigger role with strategy. I'm usually part of their team. They might have a copywriter, a Facebook ad expert. So I'm, helping to project manage all those marketing pieces and what have you. And those ones are usually more hourly just because it's so multifaceted, right? There's just too much. You can't necessarily package it up. So I have some clients where all I do is their show notes, or all I do is their podcast production and manage those moving parts. There's some where I strictly do their blogs and their monthly social media. So every client is a little bit different, and it's totally what your needs are. So once I know what your needs are and what your strategies are, it's like, hey, I'll propose, let's start here. Here is this package. and then we'll go from there.
Okay. It sounds very much what you do is very much what interior designers do. So I was in the beginning of the show asking, do we have to have everything prepared to turn over as a system and have you execute it? And you're like, no, that's what I help you do. And I thought to myself, as you were describing, I'm like, right, that's like a homeowner calling an interior designer and saying, should I have researched all the lighting and all the flooring options before I talk to you, right? It's like, no, because you said, no, I'm going to do that. I'm going to hold your hand and help you do those things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, right, the designer is going to hold there and have
totally
a conversation, right?
Yes.
Have a conversation, figure out what it is you need, what your style is, what you like, and then I'm going to bring you the suggestions and the solutions, right?
Yeah.
And so in these same things, your level of services are sort of the same thing. You might find that somebody just needs a kitchen accessorized, like crazy, just accessorize my kitchen. That's a 2-hour project for most interior designers, but could be the biggest help in the world to somebody who might have had moved into a new builder home and the kitchen is there and they love it, but they don't have the slightest idea how to decorate it and make it feel like home. And so you're talking about this. So it sounds like you basically might fit neatly into one of these categories, but it sounds like that you're also open to a conversation about where somebody's needs are existing at the moment, and then you would almost tailor a package of services that are best for them.
Yep, exactly.
Interesting. Okay, cool. So, and I just want to tell you, it's funny because this is another coincidence that we have here. You used to work in a window treatment showroom, specialty showroom. Then you went into interior design. But you know what's funny is I noticed that your podcast launched on February 16 of 2016, and mine launched on February 15 of 2016.
Oh, really?
Yes. That's like a little weird, isn't it? That's a lot of little coincidences there.
I love those kinds of things.
Yes, it's funny. So, all right. So, Lyndsay, I wanted to talk to you also. I wanted to say to everybody, first of all, that Lyndsay has a tremendous amount of resources on her website. It's lyndsayphillips.com. It's LYNDSAY, Phillips with 2 L's and 1 P.com. And in particular, you have an inordinate amount of really useful blog posts. Okay. And a lot of people, look, we all strive to have blog posts, but I really felt that you had, I was almost like, okay, I have 15 minutes. I can't read all these. Which ones am I going to read? Usually I open up somebody's website and I'm like, okay, that's good. And I was like, whoa. I could get lost in here. So good for you for putting up such great content, which I guess speaks to that's what you do for a living. So high five. But the one that I thought would really be very helpful to my designer buddies out there is you have a blog post called Overcoming Distractions for the Work at Home Professional. Now, not every designer listening works from home, but I think even the designers that have studios or work for other people do find themselves, like me, working on Saturdays and Sundays. So I think we all fit into this boat a little bit. Here I go. I'm using your analogy. We're all in this boat.
Love it.
And so let's just run through this a little bit and what your suggestions are, Lynn, on how to be productive in the working at home environment. Start us off with the number one on your list.
And Lord knows I've been there, and I'm always a work in progress. and well, like you said, you were the other weekend, you were doing all this stuff all day, and it's like, what did you get done? And you're like, I know I was busy, and I know I did a lot of things, and I have days like that, and it's like, oh man, the biggest thing for me, and I have to be so disciplined, is not to be sucked into those darn emails.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like, when I'm at the gym, I run through it, delete all the crap, and then I kind of like, okay, are there any that jump out that are like, I have to do this morning? They're like, something went wrong or whatever. And then I'm like, no, it's all cool.
Right.
And then I know when I go back to my home office, it's like, I'm not going to look in my email right now because I know there's nothing that's an emergency. So now I'm going to go and do the top things that I need to absolutely get done today. And how I work is I have Teamworks. I mean, there's which is more big because I've got a team of like 10 people. But there's Basecamp. There's a free version. There's Podio that's have a free version. Even a Trello. It looks a little bit different. Actually, designers might like it because you can make it all colorful, color coded. It's pretty looking, so that one might appeal to your audience. But in a nutshell, you want to be able to put all the things that you need to do and you don't want to forget in your project management tool. You don't want to have it on a sticky note. You don't want to have it running around in your head. And that way you don't have to think about it. You can set due dates and reminders, and you can have all the information you need on that one task or project in there. So, and I'll give you a for instance. So when I get an email about, a project I'm working on for a client or whatever, and you know how people are. There's email back and forth like a yo-yo on the one topic. It's insane.
Right.
We did cut down to meetings on my one client so that we can lessen it. But I actually take out the documents and even copy and paste the body of the email into that task in Teamworks. I attach documents in there, so it keeps it all central. So I have all my tasks, all the information in one place, so I don't have to go hunting for an old email or what someone said last week. And then the things that I absolutely have to do, or I'm going to throw my computer out the window or bang my head against a wall, is I put it in my calendar and I mark all the tasks in green. My appointments are in red, and then anything else is in yellow. So it's like my calendar, my Google Calendar is like my Bible, and it'll even pop up a notification and derail whatever I'm typing anywhere, which yes, I curse it, but it is important.
Huh.
And they're like, you have an appointment in 15 minutes. Or, hey, what about this task? Because sometimes I'm like, don't, the time runs away with you, right?
Yes.
And you're like, thank you, Google. And then you go do it. So that Google Calendar really keeps me on track. It's not just for appointments. You have to schedule in tasks. Again, using Teamworks for a lot of your tasks, but I use the Google Calendar for those things I absolutely have to get done. Those things that are priority, and I schedule it in my day so that I know, okay, from this time to this time, I have to get that done. And I'm going to be focused on that one task until it's done, and then I can move on to something else.
And I'm going to make an assumption we're turning notifications off and all the other stuff while we're doing this, or we're putting the cell phone, in a garbage can next to us or something.
Yeah, I do not. Sometimes I do. I communicate a lot with Skype, especially with my team, and I use it for my phone number as well, one of my phone numbers. And I turn it off when I need to be focused, or I put it on Do Not Disturb. And sometimes if I forget and I will hear a phone call, I will not answer it. I'm like, it can go to voicemail.
That
the world
takes
is
a lot
not
of
going to come to
discipline.
an end if you don't answer the phone right away.
I know
It does, but I'm like, and I stop myself. I'm like, no, my brain is focused on, I don't know, writing a landing page or writing a thank you email or whatever it is, right? I don't want to derail my focus because it'll make me less productive.
Right.
It's better if I answer that when I'm done.
Right. Okay. So the number one thing is to make a list, prioritize what we're going to do, and then eliminate. And we make this list based on the things that we know we need to do and the evaluation of what are the fires today based on checking the email once and then moving and the things to the to-do list that are critical. Right. And then the second thing that you talk about is that you schedule in breaks.
Yes, I suck at that. I'm not going to lie. But you know what it is? For me, going to the gym in the morning, that clears my head. And then I'm not diving into work as soon as I wake up. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So that is almost like my one break. But having said that, I do schedule, time for lunch. And I'll step away from the computer.
Right.
And I know it's funny. People be like, oh, don't you get so much done when you work from home? I do laundry and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, are you kidding? Have you looked at my kitchen? It's I think it's almost worse when you work from home because I'm just uber focused. And I do clean my kitchen before I start work because otherwise it'll just make me go mental crazy. But
That's right. I'm the same way. I have to have everything in
Yeah,
order and then I can move on. So, yeah. And
I
then, of
know.
course, you're saying number 3 is to stay off social media, which we know. And then number
Yeah.
4 is to set finite deadlines.
That's where that teamwork comes into place,
Okay.
or your calendar, right?
Okay.
So if you have projects and stuff go on, like make sure there's due dates on those things. And then same with on your calendar, scheduling it into your calendar so you know, like those things in green, you have to have done that day.
Okay,
Like
so we're not talking
you
about
can't push it
necessarily
off.
outside deadlines. We're talking about placing internal deadlines. So if
Yes.
somebody has to do a floor plan for somebody and they have a meeting 2 weeks from Tuesday, they might say, though, you know what, the week prior to that meeting, I have 2 other projects starting up, so I need this floor plan done the week before that. That's their own
Yes.
internal imposed deadline. So they should put it on a calendar that prompts them and says, hello, dummy, you didn't do your floor plan yet, right?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. And
All right.
I'll step back into one of your previous statements was with social media and distractions. In the morning, I schedule half an hour to go through all of my social media. I respond to people, I do my thing. And then at the end of the day, I do it for another 15 minutes again. So I don't have it open all the time. So I get my little dings and because come on, let's be real. We all get sidetracked, right?
Sure.
Ooh, look at that post. Ooh, there's
Right.
another notification. What did they do today? It's so easy. But if you, again, either you're just on a routine and you do it at this time and this time of a given day. And once you're on that routine, you're on autopilot. So you don't even have to think about it. So that distraction is never there. Or some people need to actually schedule it on their calendar. Like, hey, it's time to check your social media. Oh, yeah. So you just have to be really disciplined and routined. It's setting up your own time management system, really.
Right. Well, it's like I always talk about. You got to decide to do it. That's
Yeah.
really, at the end of the day, we can list 19,000 different systems and things and suggestions, but until you make a decision and do it, they're
I
all
know.
just great ideas.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's like, and we all slip up, and that's okay. I have some days where it's like, I sucked yesterday and I got nothing done and I got sucked into emails again. And it's like, but I'm aware. And it's like, okay, don't do that tomorrow.
Right.
And because sometimes it's like, you don't take your own advice or you just slip up, right? And that's okay. It's like, okay, tomorrow's going to be a better day.
Yeah. Well, it's again, it's another place where technology has sort of infringed and impinged on our lifestyle and our business lifestyle because, I remember when there wasn't internet and there wasn't email. And when you sat down at your desk to work, the only way somebody could interrupt you is if they walked into your office
Yeah.
or they called you. And
know.
the thing is, people will email way more easily than they would if the same thing they had to pick up the phone to call you about. You see, so back in the day, if you were going to call somebody, you called with an intention, a purpose. It was not something that you could find out on your own with a little bit of effort. Now it's like, well, I'll just email that person and ask them.
I
It's like,
know.
really, And so what happens is we find ourselves standing there, getting some work done, and then like 4 emails come in, and you feel like, well, let me just answer it real quick. Let me just say, it's a.
Oh, I know.
You know what I mean? And that's crazy pants. That's nuts.
It is.
It's so hard.
Easy.
And the
It's
thing
so
that I
easy to
find
get into that
it
pattern.
is, and the thing that I find that's hard is we've all had the experience of an important email being there that changed the direction of our day, good or bad. Like something blew up on a project and we needed to know, or some big project wants to come and give us a deposit and we want to know that. And so what happens is what I find, it's like my husband loves to watch baseball. And, I love to play baseball. I love to play sports, but I don't love to watch unless my kids were playing. My kids were playing. I love to watch it. I kept the stat book. I loved it. Okay. But to just watch like the Yankees play baseball, my thing is I say to him, he's like, I just love the drama. You never know what's going to happen. And I'm like, my feeling on it is yes, if I could look up at the exact moment that Jeter was going to be up at bat and get a, grand slam. I'm all about it. I love it. It's a great moment. But for the, 15 million innings that you watch for, 3 days straight, that nothing remarkable happens. And so what happens is, for me, email is like that. I know there's only probably going to be 1 or 2 significant things in the course of a day that are going to really impact me positively or negatively, my business positively or negatively, if they're not handled in that moment. Okay. There's, I'm going to get 100 emails. 70 of them are worthwhile, but there's 2 that truly are going to make or break something if they're not answered that day. But what do? We check all of them all day long for all the times that somebody's just at bat and they got another walk.
I love that analogy. That's hilarious.
It's like
no offense, pal, but
I know. It's like, oh, great. He got another walk. Oh, great. Another single out to first. Okay, awesome.
I have one client. He has codes, so he'll put level 5 in a subject line, which means like this needs to get done, or I have a brilliant idea that needs to be implemented. So and then for me, when we email him, if we're in all caps,
yes,
it's like,
warning, Will Robinson, warning.
I need your attention. So it's like we have those little internal codes, and sometimes he even says, I forget what the ND do not return. Basically, it's like, I'm giving you an idea, but don't hit reply. I don't need to junk up my email.
Right.
So it's like he just knows we're going to like run with it or take it to our next meeting and I'll add it to the agenda.
I like
that. So there's those little tiny phrases where like it can help you minimize that. And my team, what I've done with them is, don't always necessarily email me. Like if you're working on a project and you have a quick question, because I might not be even focused on my email. I'm not even looking at it. I'm working on something. But if I see my little Skype thing go bleep, then just type me a quick question in Skype. I'll solve it. We move on.
Right.
So that way I'm not seeing all the other emails in there.
Right.
And also you get my attention quicker, and then you get your, whatever your question answered, and then you can move back on to whatever it is you're working on.
I love it.
There are little systems, and and same with interior designers that are working with a team, and because there's different contractors, there's suppliers, there's other teammates and stuff like that. So if you can think of any little communication, things to do or say that mean XYZ that can make your life easier, then implement it.
Right. Little codes, like you said, like do not reply or no reply necessary or something like that. Just add it to the information on the project or whatever. Yeah.
Or level 3, level 5 or whatever it is, so that okay, I don't need to look at that right now.
Right. I have various people that I communicate with over the weekend, and I will often start it with, I'm working today, not expecting you to. This is for Monday. You know what I'm saying? So they know the difference of when, like, I actually need this if you could do it, if you could, So, but
Have you heard of Boomerang?
I feel like somebody mentioned it once, several months back. Refresh us on what it is.
So it's, like I have so many different emails. They all filter into Gmail, right? So it's a Google, like a Chrome extension or app or whatever you want to call it. So back in the day, I don't work evenings anymore, but if I did work in the evenings, I could do my emails. But if you hit the Boomerang button, you can time it so that email goes out at like 9 a.m. the next day.
Jenny Madden told me about this after we had a podcast where somebody was talking about how they like to work at night because they put their children to bed, but then it opens the can of worms. And the next day, God. Jenny Madden is an interior designer. He actually turns out here in New Jersey, and since then we've started working together. But she actually emailed me the next day, and she said, LuAnn, I'm a listener, and I just want to let you know you can use an app called Boomerang. And it's so funny, Lyndsay, that you bring that up, because that was months and months and months ago, and it wasn't just maybe in the last 2 weeks I thought, what was that thing that Jenny told me to use? Because I was feeling like I could use it. And so what happens? How does it work now? So it's an app from the App Store, or it's a download? What is it?
let me just try to find it here while I'm online.
Because that is helpful. And I think that is a good tool worth talking about for just a minute again, because a lot of designers are working nights and weekends and they want to get their stuff off their plate, but you don't want to open the can of worms. Actually, today, the day that we are recording, the show that's up live is with Kimberly K. Interiors. And she just discussed that same thing. She said how she's got one client that is out of boundaries, that's texting her and communicating with her at night. And she said that, and I said, well, is it because she's doing it and you're answering her? And she's like, well, kind of. And of course, Jenny's statement went through my mind, but I couldn't recall what it was. So I was hesitant to bring up that you could schedule it.
So it's boomeranggmail.com, and then it just integrates with your Gmail. So when you are composing an email, there's like a red button on the bot. You can just send it as whatever. But then at the bottom, if you hit the little boomerang button, and then you can put the date and the time of when you really want it to go. Because it's been 10 o'clock at night, and I'm like, and then my client is like on the email, ooh, I see you're online.
Yes,
so then he starts asking questions. I'm like,
no, exactly.
And you don't want them to think you're available to work at 10 o'clock at night, right?
It's like, exactly right. Well, and that would be helpful for me too, because I do a lot of communicating with my various support members, whether it's for the podcast or WindowWorks over the weekend, because, when I was describing that 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, where I was it was exactly opposite. I had 2 truly productive days. I mean, I plowed through tasks like I was on fire. But my evaluation was to my husband that there wasn't anything that I did in those 2 days that I was the only person that could do it. And that's where we're at that point where and of course, at this point, I am the only person who could do it, but they're not skills that only I could do. We need to hire somebody for that, right? So what happens is I'm spending that whole time, and I am often preceding a lot of these communications and directions and instructions with, I'm working now, don't expect you to. So it'd be really swell to have worked all day Saturday and Sunday and had them all hit Monday morning when I know the whole team is working. So that's nice, because I feel like it's disrespectful sometimes not sometimes, all the time, to put all my stuff out over the weekend and off hours, because then it's sometimes if you're the leader of this team, as the leader of that team, and then basically these people are people I'm paying, they might feel like by that the implication is that I expect a response, and I don't. It's just a Monday. I got to run WindowWorks. We got to get the podcast stuff off the table.
I know. I've had my team too, and it's like, oh, I'm not working this weekend. I'm out, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't expect you to even answer me. I'm just sending it because it's on my mind. You know what I mean? Like, I would never. I totally respect your
Right. But
time.
for designers, it's the opposite. They want to get it done, and then it opens the can of worms that, I could ask you 20 questions about the paint. It's like, no, lady. I'm not answering paint questions now. So, and then, so the one other thing that I wanted to bring up, and I thought was a great point, that run your home business like an outside business. Run it, have the parameters and the boundaries set up that if you were paying rent for a studio space and you were going somewhere and you had 2 or 3 employees sitting in front of you, you would not allow yourself, you wouldn't say, for instance, you could be working at your desk doing floor plans, and then, maybe I should throw the laundry in. And then when you go to do the laundry, it's like, I could take all the garbage out, and I should fold that load of laundry. But if you were in an office with a studio and you had 2 or 3 employees in your face, you would never say, I think I'll just, run out and do all my dry cleaning and my grocery shopping in the middle of this project that we're working on.
I know.
Right?
Totally. And I was bad. I used to like sit on the couch and have my laptop on it. Not only was it bad for my back, but it's like your environment affects your brain, how it functions, how it retains information, your productivity. And it's like, I finally put a stop to it. And then I had like a desk in this one room, but it had like sides to it. So I felt like I was like, all I saw was brown wood. Like, it was awful. And I was just stuck in this cubicle and I was miserable. I'm like, forget it. So then I got a different desk and I put it in front of this big window that I have. And so I could look up, because every now and then you should look up from your computer anyways, and I would see like the birds, there's a field on the other side. I'm like, oh, look, the snow is falling. Oh, there's a bunny. You know what I mean? It's like, it makes it enjoyable for me, and it makes me feel inspired and happy. And if you're happy and energized, then you're going to be able to tackle your stuff.
Right. I love it. I think it's amazing. And I think that it's great that there's people like you that are out there for any level business, but particularly for solos. But even, look, you could be a small business owner with 2 or 3 people and not have a dedicated person to do all the social media content, which is important in this day and age. And so maybe you have a junior designer and you have a bookkeeper and you have a receptionist. Well, who is doing the social media? You at 10:30 at night. Let's be real.
Yeah,
right. So it's a team member that in the last, literally 5-6 years has become more and more important as we go forward into this new era of technology and everything else. And so it's nice that there's companies like yours, Lyndsay, that just slice it out. And I just say there was something on your website I also thought was interesting, and I didn't download it yet and do it, but I thought it would be valuable for my audience and for myself. You have a free copy of a client attraction system. So I thought that was cool. But you have a lot of resources, and tell us where you want us to go and find. Just go to the website, or tell us what you want us to do.
Yeah, I mean, I do definitely on Lyndsay Phillips, I have that client attraction system, but I know we've been talking a lot about being productive, and I think that's a really good starting point in structuring your business and your work life. So I do have at smoothbusinessgrowth.com/be productive. It's 8 ways to be more productive so you can get more done consistently in less time to achieve success faster. So that's really helpful. I mean, if you want to know more about my business and what I do and how I can help you, then I do have a Start Here page on smoothbusinessgrowth.com. Okay. And I do work with a lot of bricks and mortar, a lot of tax coaches, accountants, podiatrists.
Very exciting.
Yeah. So, I mean, everyone needs to have an online presence these days.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. I thank you so much for spending your time here. And of course, I'm enjoying your podcast as well, Smooth Sailing. That's just called Smooth? You've got all your names are swimming around in my head now.
I know. Sailing to Success podcast.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Sailing is right there in front of my face. I see it now. Sailing to Success podcast. But it's cool because you have all different people. You interview people on all different aspects of business. And it's a lot like what we do here, where you talk to all different experts and different people to help us, just open our brain and our minds and our eyes a little bit to different ways of doing things and better ways of doing things. So it's awesome. Great resource, Lyndsay. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. It was fun. And to be thinking about interior design again, that was kind of cool.
Such strange coincidences. All right. Have a great day, Lyndsay.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, LuAnn.
Thank you for joining me again today for another episode of A Well-Designed Business. This podcast is a production of WindowWorks in Livingston, New Jersey, your trade resource for custom window treatments and awnings. Learn more about WindowWorks at www.windowworks-nj.com. All of our music is original music by Room 2 Productions. Please contact us if you want to learn more about original music for your business or your events.